Hello, this is Peldi from Balsamiq, and I'm here with Andrea, Brendan, and Virgin, also of Balsamiq. And today we are discussing a new feature for Balsamiq Mockups for desktop. And the feature is about adding a manual saving option to the application. Let's see. Let's start off with the title. Problem we're trying to solve. Problems we're trying to solve. So, I know one problem is 30 years of computing leave a mark. So, people are used to a certain way with Microsoft Office and other desktop applications where things are not really saved until you hit save. Sure, there's automatic disaster recovery, but I will save when I want to. Is the thing, and a lot of people have Control S embedded in their workflow, and right now we just make them feel stupid because once it's saved, we just say it's already auto-saved, you ding dong, right? So that's definitely a problem. We just a little background. We now auto-save everything, and this was inspired by web applications like Google Docs, etc., where everything is always auto-saved, and also inspired by Apple applications. They also auto-save all the time, although even Apple had to backtrack on this and add an option to turn this off. And so this is basically us going through that same process right now. So there's definitely that. The other problems that the current autosave poses that I know of, but please tell me if there's more. One that I know is that it generates a lot of network traffic, notifications, if the files are shared on Dropbox and the like. Correct? There's that. What else is the problem? The feature as it stands right now is only half baked. We don't have a way to go back to a previous revision. So people who open a file just to muck around get screwed. Pretty much. Right? What else is a problem with the current implementation?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else besides those two. I think that I think that nails the breadth of most of the tickets that we get about autosave.
Okay. All right. So for a long time, I said, let's finish the feature first and then see where we are. Right? Let's add revisions and then see. That takes care of this part. It doesn't address number 2 at all, and it doesn't address number 1 at all. Right? It's just so with that in mind,
I did think of another one. I'm sorry, I couldn't see the screen earlier. There's a tug of war that happens when you're trying to sync over Dropbox or anything like that, and that can result in files just no longer functioning properly because they just get corrupted.
Increases the chances of a conflicting copy. Thing.
Or they get errors that, the read-only stuff or weird things like that.
Right. Oh yeah, there's the other thing, which is on slow mounted network drive, copying back to the original location at time makes the whole app slow and increases the chances of data corruption. Can you still see my updates?
Mm-hmm.
No, we do, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, it seems to me that if we add a way to save manually, this might take care of a lot of things. Let's go down that route for a little bit and see how it feels, okay? So one way to do it could be this menu bar, menu. So we have project, edit, view, window help. And this would be only for desktop, right? We don't have, do we have people who have an issue with autosave in the plugins or on the web?
No.
Nope.
Although they could totally have number 3, right?
Sure, yeah.
Number 1,
absolutely.
It's not that important because on the web, maybe people are used to things autosaving more, right? Number 2, doesn't matter, it's network stuff, Dropbox not there. Number 3 is still true even for the web. And 4 and 5 are more about desktop specific. So, okay, so let's try to focus on desktop right now.
Another thing about the web is that if you there's a lot of versioning on the web, especially with like Google Drive. So if you do go in and just kind of mess around with a mockup, you can revert to a previous version through Google Drives. A lot of them have the versioning built in, so that you don't need to worry about that feature.
You're right. So the feature is less half-baked than it is on desktop because we rely on the platform to be able to do that. Oh, this is annoying. Okay. New project. So I'm redoing this menu because I think it's going to end up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we have today. What we could do is do this. Something like, we don't have a preference panel. So, but we could do auto save every change. right? And it's
Yep.
checked in by default. That's what we have right now. And you would have to turn it off. And if you turn it off, things change. Now, this won't save people in case number 3. If they mucked around, the first time, you still can't get your data back. They write to us in their anger, and we tell them, oh, look, turn that off if you want to go back.
Right.
That's not fantastic, right? The other way is, another way is to instead totally give up. And so this means
I can see how you feel about this.
yeah, it's good, right? It's fantastic. So this means forget auto-saving to the original, only auto-save in case of disaster recovery. And people have to save manually. And what happens when you quit, right? Because when you quit, we have 2 options. One is do nothing, just quit, and on restart use a backup internal copy, right? Which and mark it dirty. Basically, you find what you left off. Option 2 is as to save each dirty project on quit, which is something that I really don't like. Right? The problem with option 1, and the third option is automatically save all 30 projects before quitting. Right? These are the 3 options that I can think of. Number 1 is what I think is popular. Basically, sure, you can quit. When you come back, Text Wrangler uses this approach. When you come back, you'll find your unsaved edits. The problem with this approach is that if I forget to save and I just quit, and then I mail my file to someone else thinking it's done, the file is not going to be the latest version. And it's maybe not a huge deal, because in the event that happens, I can just reopen the app, hit save, quit, and then send the file then. Right? So this one I don't mind so much as a policy. Number 2 is the way it was.
Peldi, sorry.
Yeah.
We use this approach for unsaved bumper, for example. So we quit and we we restore the old work without notifying the user. And
yeah, but the difference is that for unsaved files, those are hidden. They don't even know where they are. They're not going to send them anywhere.
Right, but you are notified that you don't have a saved because you see a little asterisk near the name of the bumper that says that.
Right.
Okay, so the approach used Text Wrangler is similar also from from users that came from Windows, it is a common practice.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's good. I think it is definitely my favorite of the three options.
Okay.
So wait, what happens if you save the project, then you make some changes, and then you don't save it, you close out, and then you double click on the bumper? In the, like, what does it load? Does it load the bumper that hasn't been saved, or does it load the bumper that's in the backup?
Well, it should definitely load the one but the backup.
Yeah.
That's a very good one.
Yeah.
We have to test that. I'll restart by double clicking. Load the unsaved.
If it was unsaved file that you have stored in some cookies or in some file, locally file, it will be restored at the backup.
My only concern with that is that if someone opens up a mockup to just screw around, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to keep these changes, and I save it, we don't offer a way to open up that file without those changes.
Yeah, so we would have to have a reload from disk.
Yeah, maybe just a dialogue when you open it. It's like, hey, you made changes to this last time. Did you want to use those changes or discard them?
I don't think we need to interrupt them. I think that if you're saving manually, the refresh, the reload from disk is a common menu to expect.
Yeah.
Discard local changes or something. But all good things to remember. I forgot about that. So option 2 is ask to save each dirty project. This is very 90s. It sucks because you're like, just let me quit already. So I really don't want to do this. Option 3, I think, is betraying the user a little bit. I told you to save manually. Why are you saving when I quit? I was just futzing around, right? So this could be, option 1 could be good, right? It seems like it's the only one left. Okay, so this is one option, right? Totally give up on autosave. Still do the autosave for recovery, of course. This is something, but I think the fact that I think this would be a step back if we just did it like that. Because for people who do work on the web, who like to be in this century, autosave is amazing. And for them, we should do revisions, and if we did, everything will be fantastic. And these other ones, they're just bugs that we, Balsamiq, should be dealing with. You know?
This option couldn't be optional. So you choose to autosave like today, and when you uncheck the menu,
right,
you are going in this mode.
Right.
So it is not exclusively option.
Right. So yes. So that's where I was getting at. The thing that's only a half step back is to add this checkbox.
Mm-hmm.
And if you turn it off, then this happens. So, and then there's the show for dirty project, right? In the title. So if you do that, if you turn this off, then this we're gonna show another menu If this is off, then load from disk. That's too long. Let's just do it this way. And maybe that will tell you, are you sure you're going to throw away your work? So if this one, when this one's off, we show another thing. And the right thing to do will be to have it disabled instead of not there.
Mhm.
Although this will really, I think this will encourage people to turn this off, which is not something that I want. But that's okay, that's okay. If they want, they should do it. This is becoming a little busy. So this rename could be either on its own, or we could maybe move it up.
Yeah, do we need that?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I will put it here before close. Okay, so you turn it off, and that's it. And maybe there's a little toast in the bottom right that says autosave turned off, and then you get a asterisk here when it's dirty in the title. Saving will make you will show, okay, saved. You know, it might have a progress bar, and quitting.
Yes, because when you save, you physically copy the file, the local file that we autosave for the backup.
Right.
You physically copy on the original folder. So for network drive, could be 1 minute, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
Yeah.
but we could say, you know, we could do saving like a progress bar. I don't know if that's just there. And then what else happens? When you quit, we do this. When you restart, we do this. The only problem here is that we still might burn some people once, right?
If you have a crash or
if you don't know that it's auto saving, and you just open stuff to play around with it and quit and don't think it's saved, right?
yes.
Right. And so
I think it's better to risk that than to walk in and just disable autosave whenever this feature launches, to just automatically have it defaulted off and have people think that they're auto-saving and not.
oh, that's for sure. If we change the default, we'd have to do a big warning.
Right.
I think this could be a first step, and then if we see lots of people, you know, we don't know if people use it one way or another. We don't have analytics about it. And I still like the idea to try to push people a little bit towards autosave, because for when you're going to open web projects on the desktop, it's always going to be autosaved, right? So that's going to be selected and disabled. You know. Okay, so this could be a good compromise. It would be documented. Maybe even in the intro video or whatever, we could say everything's always autosave, but if you want to turn it off, you can, so that people know. What do you think?
I think it's a good first step. I mean,
Yeah, seems like a good option. And I think it's good to keep thinking that more people will use autosave than people who don't, right?
Yeah.
people don't call and say when they love autosave. I do hear that, but it's only people. The only time we hear complaints about autosave is when people don't like it. So there's a lot of people out there that love autosave. It's just that we don't hear from them. So I think it's good to still have it enabled.
Okay. So we haven't talked about implementation details, but I'm sure Andrea can figure it all out.
Yeah.
And then this is only for desktop.
Right. So it only needs to be. We're still planning snapshots, right? Like that's still.
It's still planned, but maybe not for a while because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Oh, maybe I can do this. Oh, I can't.
Better email the devs and tell them.
All right, I will add this bumper to the pivotal story. Oh, let me save. Haha. I knew it was already auto-saved. Just messing with it. All right. Everything good? Everybody excited? Should we do this?
Yes.
I like it.
Wow. All right then. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Bye.